It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video. And today I wanted to talk again about Netmaker. Now I did a video a few weeks ago about Netmaker and just using it to access your different systems or your client systems or whatever you may have from a remote location, and really setting it up as a simple way to tunnel through a firewall without having to open a bunch of ports. The other thing that I show you guys all the time is how to use NGinX Proxy Manager inside of your network, and then opening up firewall ports 80 and 443 to really proxy your traffic around your local network and get access to all of your different apps and services. Today I want to show you a way to do it without having to open any ports on your local firewall for your local area network. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and all of my patrons over at Patreon. Seriously, you guys make this so worth it for me to do these videos every week. I really truly enjoy it, and I just can't say thank you enough. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe. Let YouTube know that I'm doing a good job by subscribing to the channel. Plus, you'll get notified when I have new videos coming out. And finally, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, give it a like. Just click on that thumbs up, and that way YouTube knows that you like it, and they'll pass it along to other people that might enjoy my content as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you again. Let's get started. So this is the server that we created earlier. And we're going to create another droplet here. And again, it's just going to be one of these inexpensive DigitalOcean droplets. It doesn't have to be anything super specific. And I'll kind of explain why we're doing this. But I'm going to create the exact same thing that I did before. So again, pick a geographically close location. Set up your SSH keys if you need to. And then I'm going to give this a Netmaker proxy. Just something to identify the droplet in my list here. I'm going to create that droplet. And it's going to get, again, an IP address. So I want to go back to my mail-in-a-box setup. And again, on custom DNS, I'm going to create a new custom DNS entry. So I'm going to copy this IP address, and I'm going to call this star.myapps. It's going to be an A record, and the value is this IP address, of course. And I'm going to save that. It's going to let me know, hey, that was successful, that's great, that should be up to date here in a few minutes. Again, we want to do some of the similar things, so we want to open this up in SSH. So we're just SSH root at that address. And yes. And we want to apt update, apt upgrade -y. So we're going to let that thing update, we'll reboot it, and then we're going to go and actually set this thing up to be a proxy for the services that are running inside of my home. Alright, so I wanted to talk about what I'm trying to accomplish. So this is my network at home, let's just assume. And I've got all kinds of different apps running at home on my network because I love to run home apps on self-hosted things and are open source, so I want to be able to reach them from home. Now there's two ways to do that. You either have a firewall and you punch holes in the firewall by opening up ports. This is okay, and it can be done pretty easily with port 80 and 443, and then something like NGinX Proxy Manager running inside of your network to route traffic around, but it's not exactly the most secure way to do things. The other way is using something like WireGuard, and I showed this in a previous video using a tool called Self-Hosted Gateway, and it basically does exactly what I'm going to show you how to do here with Netmaker. So if you're going to set up Netmaker, you can do this. So this will be our Netmaker server that we already set up. This is going to be our new DigitalOcean droplet, and we're going to set the Netmaker client on it. So I'm going to point my DNS, which I already did. If you'll remember, I did star.apps. Yeah, we did star.myapp.theitpros.org. So we pointed that to that server. So I'll make a call out to whatever I want to give the name of something to. I'm going to run NGinX Proxy Manager on this server. I'm also going to be running the net client on this server. So I'm going to have the net client join my Netmaker network, and then I'm going to have my Netmaker network pointing into my home network, and I'm going to route that traffic as it comes in using NGinX Proxy Manager, and let NGinX Proxy Manager point directly to the machine where this is running on that port. So I'm really going to set everything up so that I call into this server. This server says, oh, hey, by the way, I'm reaching out to Netmaker on WireGuard, and then this server is going to tell it, oh, and I'm going to give you access into your home network. So all of this 100% is encrypted traffic over a VPN. Now, anybody who calls this URL is going to get directed this same way into your network, but it's only going to, it starts here and it says, I'm calling this machine specifically on this port. That's it. So as it goes around here, it's really just calling one machine on one port for each application that you're running. You're not calling into your just open network and saying, hey, here's full access to my network. So this is kind of a nice way to do this. We're setting up a proxy in the cloud essentially, so that when I'm not at home, I can easily access my home network without having to have holes punched in my firewall to do it. We're going to go back to our terminal, and I'm going to show you. I've got the net client installed. I went ahead and did that off screen since I showed you how to do that earlier. You can see that it's running, which is great. And now we're going to use our net client join. So we're going to go over to our network, basically on Netmaker. And here we can see the network that we've already created. So now we just need to go and create some new network keys. So we're going to create an access key. We're going to pick our network. And we'll create some new access keys here. Probably just need a couple, if that many. I'm just going to copy this join command right here. Then I'm going to go back to my terminal. I'm going to paste in that join command. And we should be on the network. So if we go back to our Netmaker network here and check out our nodes, and this is Netmaker proxy right here. So it does show up. So that's great. So this is going to connect us to this machine. And if we go back to our terminal, we can kind of show that. So if we do wg show, we can see our peer information. We can see right here that I'm trying to get into my home network, which is 192.168.10.0/24. And then here is the node that I'm actually using to do that. So let's just see if we can ping that node. We're getting ping requests back. That's good. Let's see if we can ping another machine on my system. Yes, so I'm able to ping a different machine on my local network, and this is from my cloud hosted Ubuntu system. So the next thing we need to do is actually install NGinX Proxy Manager and Docker CE and Docker, and that's where my script comes into play. So I've added the text, I've added my script here, and I'm going to change the permissions to executable. And then we'll run it, and this is number 4. And I do want Docker CE, Docker Compose, and NGinX Proxy Manager this time. So we're going to let this run real quick. It'll install Docker CE for us, it'll install Docker Compose, and then it should bring up NGinX Proxy Manager for us. Alright, so we've got NGinX Proxy Manager up and running, and we're just going to get our IP. And again, we'll go in our browser. admin@example.com and change me. So you always want to log in and change those credentials right away. And now we're set. So we're going to go to our proxy hosts right here, and we're going to add a new proxy host. And the first one I want to set up is actually the proxy host for this machine. So I'm going to set up manage.myapp.ditpros.org. If I type this correctly. And it brings us right back around, that's great. And then the next thing I want to do here is I want to edit this. And I want to go to my SSL tab, request a new certificate, force SSL, HTTP2 support, accept the terms, hit save. And I want to make sure this opens with HTTPS. And make sure I can log in. So now I'm accessing my site with HTTPS, and I can go into DigitalOcean and use their tools to set up my firewall to block port 81 so that nobody can get in through the non-encrypted direction. I can now add my other hosts that I want to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and let's find a service that I'm just accessing by IP for now. How about my TrueNAS box? So this runs at 192.168.10.115. So we're going to add a proxy host. We're going to call this tnas.myapps.theitpros.org. Hit tab so you get that little chip. And then this is going to be 192.168.10.115. And then the port is 80. And I'll block common exploits. And we're just going to save that and see if it'll just go on the non-encrypted port first. So we're going to click on this. And there's my TrueNAS. So I'm accessing this website. Even though it seems like it's from inside my home, I'm accessing this by going through that DigitalOcean cloud server and back in from the outside. So here's the URL. So this is doing exactly what I showed you in this little drawing that I made. Here's me. I'm calling to that DigitalOcean cloud server with NGinX Proxy Manager on it and the net client running. It calls over to Netmaker server, which is also my ingress gateway, but in this case I'm on the same network. It then goes over to the egress gateway, which is a machine on my network with no firewall ports open to allow this traffic. It's all coming through the VPN. And then this routes the traffic around my network. So it's able to call directly to a machine on my network and basically reveal my TrueNAS page. Now, I don't want this to be unencrypted, so I'm going to go right back into here. I'm going to edit that entry. I'm going to go to the SSL tab. I'm going to hit Request New Certificate, Force SSL, HTTP support, HTTP2 support, and then accept the terms of service. This is going to go out and ask Let's Encrypt to challenge this domain and make sure that it can reach it on port 80. If it can, it's going to issue a certificate. Now I should be able to reach this on HTTPS. There it is. Okay. It just took a second, but there we go. HTTPS is running and it is functioning and everything is working like we expect. Let's see. Is this the way you log in? I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember my login because I have it saved. Yeah. So here's my TrueNAS. So I'm getting to my TrueNAS. Even though I'm doing this in the longest way possible, I'm going out to New York, to another server in New York, back into my network, all over Netmaker. So I can do this from anywhere now. I can do this from anywhere where I have an internet connection and I can reach these domains. I'm set. So I've literally set up a reverse proxy system that allows me to do something really great. And it's not requiring me to open any ports on my firewall. It's not requiring me to make any kind of insecure decisions here for my system or non-secure decisions for my system. Everything's closed off, but I can still reach my applications. I can still set this up to get to my applications. Now, if you want to take this a step further where you have these domain names that you can reach, you could also set up your machine to connect over Netmaker to this network and kind of go this way so that everything's going through the Netmaker network and then disallow access if it's not on that specific network. So you could set up ACLs that it has to be from that network within NGinX Proxy Manager so that if somebody tries to hit it from your public IP, it's not going to work. So there's lots of things you can do with this, lots of directions you can go, but this is all being made possible because of this Netmaker software. It is absolutely terrific. It is just incredible stuff. And there's so many different ways that you could actually do this. It's just amazing. So I hope what I've walked you through makes sense. I know it takes a little bit of time to process this stuff, but again, if we go look now at the graphs, we can kind of see what our network looks like. I need to zoom this out just a little bit, I think. There we go. But you can drag this around, by the way. So you can see now I've got these different nodes and I've got these different capabilities of things that I can go from and where I can reach into and what allows me to do that, which is just absolutely amazing. I think it's incredible that I can do this. I think it's incredible that this software gives us that capability. And not only is this useful for your personal life, like I just showed, but this is so useful for a business to have secure communications and secure networking with clients, with customers, with other offices, with remote locations, with remote workers. Just so many great things you can do with this. And look at this great interface. It's not just a ton of command line stuff anymore. It really just makes it very, very straightforward to get this set up. It's your open source advocate and I'm back and I've set up a store with a little bit of merchandise. I love being your open source advocate, but I want you guys to be the open source advocates with me. So if you want to, get out there and get some of this stuff. And if you do, let me know what you think of it. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along on the journey with us. And I'll talk to you next time.